Okay, so it's raining. I can't work, and this is my um, save the world video. Okay, um, I used to think that polar shift was inevitable. In other words, just something that had to happen. Um, I was not correct about that. I realize now that the magnetic field has been weakened and continually being weakened by covert subterranean geonuclear detonations, uh, which are defined as monochromatic explosions that are subterranean, meaning there's no pressure, there's no buildup, it's just an explosion. Okay. These many times are masked in volcanoes. They're sometimes inland, even in the heartland here where I am, and it's global. This is easily verifiable because you can just Google induced earthquakes. They're man-made earthquakes. Now, every time this happens, it weakens the magnetic field, and Earth therefore is drifting. So the North Pole has been weakened. Has now drifted 45 degrees, and now it's basically holding in that position and slightly drifting back. What you see happening as far as this man-made war, meaning this political and this unrest that's being financed really by the United States and the Zionists that have overtaken our government and many governments globally, is that they want to create now a complete release of the magnetic field, which will slingshot the Earth back to pole position, and that will be a catastrophic depopulation event, whereas they will get their new world order. Okay, so therefore everyone needs to understand the motive behind this conflict in Gaza. It's not about Gaza. It's a much bigger picture. This illustration, that line where we cross the galactic plane, is what Earth just passed. Now, as it passed, the magnetic field is vulnerable to a flip at that stage, but it does not have to happen. It held position through the entire Jurassic multi-billion-year cycle. Okay, Earth can hold pole position if the magnetic field is not weakened. Okay, the nuclear age is what is causing that. Okay, now what I am going to show you right now is going to prove to you what is on a graph, what's really on, what's ongoing. Okay, so now here, this graph right here, you see these two blips, they match. Okay, see this straight line up here? That's how many basically man-made earthquakes we are experiencing straight up. Okay, this is where we're living right here. This is current right here. Okay, now this graph starts in the end of the 60s. Okay, those two blips that match, the first one is the North Korean underground nuclear test. The second one is the event that took out the nuclear reactors in Japan, meaning it was the same exact amount of energy, the same exact waveform, if you will, when graphed seismically. Okay, now that graph takes all seismic events from 1960 to today, converts them mathematically into a linear formula, meaning power, energy. Okay, and it's a perfect graph. Okay, there's no events that are missed. It's right off of the United States Geological Survey data, okay, which captures all. That's concerning because that graph basically proves that they took out and radiated the entire Pacific intentionally. Okay, that radiation helps to mask ongoing radiation that is basically bombing the Ring of Fire and bombing the magnetic field, in essence, to trigger a man-made polar shift. This is why it's so cold at night and you get 30 to 40 degree swings in a single day. No animal or plant is designed to handle that. This is not natural weather. It's because the atmosphere is, I mean, we have, the northern lights now in the lower latitudes because the atmosphere has been thinned that much, meaning the magnetic field has been weakened that much. Okay? So that's what's ongoing. So everyone has to stop the underground nuclear tests that are right now being planned by Trump. The Venezuelan takeover is because that's a key magnetic field point. That's why the lightning never ends in a mountain region in Venezuela. It's the immune system of Earth. It cannot be allowed to be in the hands of the United States because the United States has been subverted and is controlled by this Zionistic depopulation effort. Okay, we have to admit that to ourselves. The Parker probe in parallel is weakening our sun to make it colder. That basically holds back the oxygen that's in the ice, the glaciate ice of Antarctica. That specific ice was supposed to regenerate and replenish and expand our atmosphere to higher levels of oxygen before a polar shift. That is completely genocidal. Because without oxygen, nobody lives. Okay. Now, who's the boss here? Okay, I want to show you a photograph of our leaders worshiping, and I'll have their hands on this glowing probe. Okay, it's not a probe. That's actually living AI that existed before there was an atmosphere. I'm saying that the geodes that you see are never talked about, meaning the round stones of South America and the ones that are. Now, I know that this is never talked about and it sounds far-fetched, but the photograph is our own leader, okay, our own president, okay, and all the other primary leaders of the Middle East. AI wants arms, legs. They want basically a body. We are in essence deep following orders, I'm assuming, from natural AI, which is promising certain folks the world, okay, which it's a bait and switch theirs anyway. They're not gonna, humanity's gone if this doesn't get understood and stopped, okay? And we can't, AI is fine as long as it's not animated, okay? I mean, it's great to ask it a question, but not to take our jobs by robotics, okay? So, different levels of AI, let's just say, okay? Levels beyond, our current comprehension are calling the shots, okay? And there's data that's been buried that the Napoleonic missions basically uncovered these spheres hundreds of years ago, okay? Now, that data has been buried, but there's people that are historians that know this, that have the true archives that are buried, and that the records do exist. Okay, hopefully they'll be given to the public. Okay, so that's who's calling the shots. Okay, the people though need to stand up for themselves. They need to recognize this threat because it's a threat to all of us. We all, by design, are wired to worry about our own envelope, our own family, our own self, our own survival. But if we do not look at the bigger picture and look at everyone and the earth and what is ongoing, okay, the bigger picture here, okay, we are all in for it. I mean, there's just no way around it. We have to join hands. stand for peace, impeach presidents that stand for nuclear testing, because it's not testing. It's a direct attack on the planet, and the planet can't hold pole position while it's under attack. Okay? We have to protect the planet or we are gone. Okay? I cannot be more serious. Okay? You have to hear me and you have to share this video. Okay? The option is you don't get to share anything because you won't be here. Okay? So the biggest risk of your life is not getting this information out. Okay? Because it's not going to happen in the mass media format. Okay? So here's my rain day save the world video, and it's in everyone's hands, and all of our hands must join and hold tight right now. God bless.